Wedge 5 Green leader Caroline J interviewing at Barlaston. Interviewing in the museum at people looking at the Portland vase. Excuse me. I'm from the Victoria Theatre in Stoke, and we're doing a programme about Josiah Wedgwood. And I wanted to get some people's opinions about what they thought about the vases and things.
Yes.
Are you from here? Are you from Stoke?
No. From Holland.
From Holland.
From Holland.
And have you heard of Wedgwoods in Holland?
Yes, I have. I've buy it in Holland, and it's very, very, very fine, and I love it.
Have you seen the Portland vase over here?
Not yet.
We're going through it.
Okay. Excuse me, I'm from the Victoria Theatre. We're doing a programme about Josiah Wedgwood, and I'm trying to get some people's thoughts and comments on the Portland vase.
Oh.
Are you from around here?
Stafford.
Have you been here before?
No, it's the first one today.
Yeah. Do you like the museum?
Well, I went to the Gladstone Museum yesterday. I don't think it's as good as that, but I'm looking at it as a teacher, because, and it wouldn't be as good for the children, so I'd be influencing what I think. You know. I think probably I would think it was quite good if I hadn't been there yesterday, which impressed me a lot.
Yeah. What do you think of the vase?
I don't know, I was just reading this. I've just got started reading it and I haven't really looked at it yet. Well, it's a beautiful shape. But
looks like he had a lot of mistakes.
Yes, obviously things didn't take there. I don't know, yes, I think they are very beautiful. A lot of the other things over there, they're very dark, heavy ones I don't like, but these are more delicate somehow. What is it you're doing at Stoke?
It's a documentary about Josiah Wedgwood. It's made up mostly of material that was written around the time, either his letters or things like that, and also a bit of taped material of people who work at Wedgwood's now and things that go on now, mixed up together.
That sounds good.
I hope it will be.
I think I've seen some of the advanced publicity.
That's right, yes, you would have done. Yeah.
And why are you interested in what people think about the Portland vases in particular?
Just because it took him such a long time to perfect it, and to actually arrive at the finished result. And he thought that it was his crowning achievement. So it's interesting to get people's opinions of it now, you know, that many years later.
It's amazing to think that you spent so long trying to produce something like that.
And not to give up.
Yes. How long was it? It says it, 3 years, was it? Seemed to be very in thing at the time.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks. Excuse me. I'm from the Victoria Theatre in Stoke, and we're doing a documentary about Josiah Wedgwood. And I'm trying to get people's comments about the Portland vase. What do you think of it? Do you like it?
I think so, yes. We've only just started to look, we don't really know.
Well, I'll let you look for a while. Are you from round here?
No, we're from Devon.
Oh, it's my home country.
Is it? Oh,
yes, yeah.
Where in Devon?
Well, Dorset, sort of on the Devon-Dorset line region.
Ah, yes, I know. We're more near Exeter.
Is it the first time you've been up to Stoke?
Actually,
I think so,
yeah.
Into the pottery department.
Yeah.
I'm afraid I still prefer the blue, what I call the traditional.
The real.
Really, the blue and the white.
Yeah. Had a lot of failures with this.
Well, the patience required, to keep at it until you've really got the thing.
Yes, he did hundreds and thousands of experiments
Yes.
with glazes and things, and kept failing and kept on going.
Yes.
But still, the blue things are still things that come through to today, isn't it? This is what I call Wedgwood, is that other stuff. Not that I know anything about pottery at all. Nothing, in fact. But I haven't got my glasses either, so I'm not reading.
Thanks very much, indeed. Excuse me, I'm from the Victoria Theatre and we're doing a documentary about Josiah Wedgwood, and I'm trying to get some people's comments and thoughts about the Portland vase. Do you like it?
Yes, I do very, very much.
Are you from round here?
No, Cadrali, I live in South Wales.
Is this the first time that you've
Yes,
been to
the first time, yes. Yes. That is really something, I think so anyway. Yes, it is really, yes.
And I bought this transcript
Oh, we've
met before, yes.
Before, yeah. It was a case of, I think it's Fred, Margret.
That's right.
Myself on it.
little trio.
Ah,
You
right.
have to sing a song though as well.
I didn't know you were recording when you came round here.
Didn't you?
No, I didn't, honestly.
And watching me next to the one with the women.
No, it was a case of just a matter of interesting things, really. Well, there was only one interesting, well, I don't know whether you'd say it was interesting, was when Prince Philip came round, and I was doing a Portland vase like, and I got the Portland vase on the bench, and all as I was doing was just tooling around the figure, you see. And he asked me the question which I was dreading. He said, well, come on, I want to see you place one of those figures on, you see. And it's all right ornamenting, putting a figure on as you go along. But when you asked him unexpectedly, like that was, you know, it was a case like my hand, I knew it was going to shake, you know. But anyway, I watered the vase up, lifted the figure up, and for some strange reason or other, my hand was never shook, and I got away with it, you know. But those sorts of things with royalty, it's a case of the unexpected. But in this particular instance, I came off all right, you know.
Did he say anything to you?
Oh yeah, he said, marvellous, marvellous, marvellous. And your hand didn't shake, did it? So whether he got a sort of a feeling that I may have, you know. But out of all the royal family, I think that the Queen Mother was really the nicest. I reckon she's beautiful. She was a real lady, you know.
Has she been round here?
Oh yes, I've got quite a nice big folk figure. I'm doing a Portland vase with the Queen Mother when she came down. She was very, very interesting. But out of all the royalty, you know, all the royalty is nice, but I think the Queen Mother's the nicest.
Did she say anything to you?
Oh yes, she said how long had I been doing it, you know, and you know, it's 14, you know, a good many years, you know, and all the rest of it. But she was really very, very interested in the side, the story behind the vase, of what the story of the Portland vase depicted like, you know. And I don't think really anybody can really tell us what the story depicts on the port of Mars. I couldn't tell. I think she drew her own conclusions, but she's really beautiful.
Did either of them do anything? Did they?
No, not with a big article like the port of Mars. You can get it on like a smaller thing. I've seen the royalty have a go with like on a square box or an ashtray, and put on an ornament on such as that, you know. But on a Portland vase 10-inch or any other sizable object, no, I think it'd be unfair to really ask them to have a go on anything like that. Although I think Prince Philip was rather, you know, he's an adventurous type, and I think he'd have a go if he was asked, you know.
Did he ask you lots of questions about what you were doing?
Remember? Oh yeah. Remembering, you know, I said, I want you to see you put one of these figures on. I dreaded, you know, that question coming up and everything. And it was a pretty hard figure on the port of Mars. It's one of the thinnest figures. It's what we call the pillar figure. Actually, it's the first figure that goes on the Mars. And it can very, very easily break if you're not just careful. And you can put it out of position. And once it's on, you know, you've got no second attempt. And I think it was this one was frightening me more than anything. And the shaking of the hand. He said, very, very good, very, very good. And he said, now this figure here, and he said to go in the join up for that. Yes, like, you know, good, I see. And that, when it's finished, will be your port and wall. Very, very nice.
Thanks very much.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
Thank you.
Quite welcome.
Okay, let's go and do a couple of shots when the ladies finish this one.
A couple of shots.
I'll give him mine.
John, is it?
Just forget about it.
Right. I didn't know it was on last time.
Where are you going?
I was coming here. Hello. Take me dirty penny off.
Well, I put mine on and we'll wait. Mind the handles, they fall off. Yeah, they do fall off.
Strange to say.
Is that what you're talking into it? Didn't John, is it? Didn't John. Good
What's your language?
Alma doesn't know.
I've gone quiet all of a
Okay, as lovely as you are, John.
You keep your mouth shut, Albert. That's the best thing for you to do.
Oh, come on, Fred. You want
No, I'm not saying anything into that tomorrow.
So he's finished.
Have you
You
finished?
finish, Albert.
I've finished. I've
Are you
told her.
sure?
Yes,
What
honestly.
have you said?
I told about when Prince Philip came round that time. You know, I was doing the
Yes.
tennis ball.
Yes.
And,
What year was that, Albert?
oh, now you're asking me, aren't you?
Can you remember when they
Been
both
over a
come
couple of
round,
times.
the Queen and Prince Philip?
Yes.
Well, this was the occasion. We were down.
1955, that was.
Oh, I
55,
thought he was a bit later than that. I thought he was about 56.
Well, the Prince Philip
came-
come round again later,
On his own.
on his own.
But with the Queen, she came.
Oh,
they came together
maybe
about
that's why I'm getting
1955.
mixed
And
up.
Prince Margret come on and on.
Princess Margaret,
Yeah.
yeah.
But she also came with the
Queen Mum.
husband.
The Queen Mother. Yeah.
She came with her husband,
Yes,
though.
Lord Snow.
Lord Snow.
She was expecting a baby when she came.
Yeah.
And
We had a special
she got-
toilet built.
She got a gorgeous apricot dress and coat. Gorgeous apricot dress and coat on. Beautiful. And her eyes were ever so blue. Lovely.
Getting John, is it?
I'm not telling.
She was charming then. She was charming. But when she came down with the Queen one, she wasn't so charming. Was she? No, she was a miserable. Don't put it in the play, but she was. Queen Mum was charming.
Oh yes, she was. Queen Mum was.
Did she do anything? Did she have a go at anything?
They came round and put the name on the back of the medallion of the Queen, and they both put initials, didn't they, in the back, stuck the head on. The Queen Mum did one.
She did.
Miss Margaret did one.
What did you have to do for them? Did they ask you to do
This is
anything?
on you, then, yes.
We set it up for them, sort of got it ready, and then they just finished them off. But it was one of the Queen herself, wasn't it, for the 40th
Yes, it
medallion?
was an anniversary. The Queen's anniversary, 25th.
I remember seeing you, Fred, when the Queen Mother came here.
Is the camera big enough? Is that?
That's better.
Not Betsy. Come on, hurry up, I can't get...
You're always worth reading.
Oh, when the Queen Mother put that figure on, and you held the towel for it, can you remember? Got a photograph of that.
Only the towel. Oh, that's when she was wiping her hands.
Yes,
Wiping her hands,
kept
yeah.
a special towel.
What did you do?
When she first came, Sir Arthur introduced me to her. Now, he told me to chat her up. Is that all?
Forget about it.
He told me to chat her up, you see. So, I didn't know what to say. So, when she came round, he introduced me to her, Queen Mother, and I said, good morning, Mum. I thought, well, you were late, aren't you? 20 minutes. She says, yes, I'm very sorry. She apologised. I said, she said, we couldn't get through because of the traffic. You see, so I said, well, now you're here, I want you to do a bit of potting for me. Amazed. I said, I've never done anything like this. I said, with my help, we'll make a mess of it. And that, I took the handbag up and gave it to her. And sat her down, you see. Then, I told her what we were going to do, and what I wanted her to do, you see. Then we started. But, writing on damp clay is very hard to do, see. And she said, I'm making a mess of it. I said, you know, you're doing very well, because I tried the day before, and still made a mess of it, see. So she did very well, but she didn't know what to put. So I told her to put a maiden initials, but she did, see. And then to put the figure on, she didn't know where to put it, but I put a little cross. Said, if you do that, just put it there, press it on the hand, and we're all right, which she did. Very pleased. And then she thanked me very much.
They came out good, didn't they?
It came out very good, yes. One's in the museum, and the other one, she's got one. The other
Very,
two, I
very
don't-
nice, though, wasn't she?
Oh, she was, yes.
She was, she's a beautiful person.
We were better good of an hour, and yes, Sir Arthur was
Well, I
really
remember-
ruffled because they were late.
I remember you holding the towel for her, just like the Union Jack he held it, you know.
Well, I got a lovely bowl with water for her to wash her hands, you see, because she always wears gloves. Then I give her the towel, you see, and when she gone, everything went quick.
Well, when you come to look
Yes,
at
they kept
those
the pen.
souvenirs, you see.
The one that Princess Margaret had used and the one that the Queen Mum had used. The pens went very quickly.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
souvenirs.
But when you come to look back over the years, we've had some very, very interesting and VI people on
We
here,
had
haven't we?
Gracie Fields.
Gracie
She
Fields.
sang for us.
Yeah.
She sat on the bench in the greenhouse
That's
and
nice.
sang Sally.
One of the best, to me anyway, is the present Dallas is JR, and I've got a photograph of him. He's only about 15, isn't he?
Oh, yes,
I brought it
yes.
with, didn't I? He's about 15, and his mother,
Mary Martin.
Mary Martin, had just made
Mary.
South Pacific, hadn't
That's
she?
right.
She was on the stage in London.
That's right. Anyway, I've got this photograph of JR, and it's his sister, isn't it? I brought it to work, and JR, he is now, like, you know, in Dallas.
That
I
was
mean,
when we were upstairs.
when we were
wasn't it?
upstairs, yes, it's going back
And
out.
she sent us records.
Records of South Pacific.
Oh, we'd never heard the music, and when they came over the tunnel, it was terribly dreadful.
That was about
But when the Theatre Royal,
51, 52.
Yes.
when the Theatre Royal was going at its best, every week we always had Archie Stroud. And it was great, you know. I think it was 1,000 pities when that really closed down for bingo.
We used to give a visitors
Oh
book.
yeah.
Visitors book, and everyone signed it.
Everybody signed it.
Whoever
Yeah.
was on the theatre, they used to come to Wedgwood. Always.
Very, very good.
What was Gracie Fields like?
Typical Gracie.
Typical Gracie, wasn't
Typical Gracie, you know.
Full of dance and
Yeah.
jollity, and I remember she got little white ankle socks on.
That's right.
White ankle socks on, she stood on the bench and sang Sally. Then she was on the Victoria Hall at the night time, and we went to see her there.
She bought a lovely tea set.
Ruby
Thank you very
Tonkin.
much.
Ruby Tonkin, wasn't it?
Tonkin didn't
Yeah.
Yeah,
well.
Ruby
right.
Tonkin. Then there was the little chappie who sang like Bing Crosby. Michael Holiday.
Oh, yes. We got a good photograph. We've got photographs of all
he
of them.
came round, and one long after, because he committed suicide.
I remember the Russians coming round,
Yeah,
after
Russians,
Gagarin,
yeah.
and what's his name, Gagarin, and been into space,
Yeah.
and they gave me a book. Yeah, on Yuri Gagarin.
Yeah.
Still got that.
Yes, and
They
the
were very
Globetrotters come round.
Oh, yes, the Globetrotters.
Oh, yeah.
When they came
Oh,
round,
yeah,
Yes.
very good.
pipes were long. They just reached up and
Yeah.
touched them.
Yeah.
Honestly,
They were great.
They were great,
Oh,
weren't they?
they
The
were.
Globetrotters.
Did
Tommy
they stop
Cooper.
and chat?
Oh, yes.
Oh, they all do, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they all stop and chat.
Tommy
Have a bit of
Cooper, he
fun.
was another one. He came round, you know. I looked down at him. The first thing that struck me was the size of his feet. I mean,
Like 12.
oof! He was like boats, you know.
Go and knock him
But
over.
he was a nice chap. wasn't he?
Oh, they were all nice. They're all
What's your name? The singer. The Welsh singer. The dark girl.
Dana.
No. Born in Tiger Bay.
Shirley Bassey.
Shirley Bassey.
Shirley
She
Bassey,
came round
she
when she'd
came
only just
round.
started,
Oh, yes,
started to make a name for
yeah.
herself. She wasn't very much there.
She wasn't very welcome
No.
either.
She was around 40, lived in
Yes. Yes.
But she did come round. I remember a party here. Well, before the shoppers was.
Got them all there. We've still got photographs going
Yeah,
back
lots of
years.
photographs.
Celebrities we have been round. And
It's a
you take
pity at the
photograph and take-
time. At the time when all these different VIPs came round, we didn't make more of a recording. I mean, you know, in actual writing down who it is and what date and everything. Margaret, you've started doing something like that now, haven't you?
Keep a little diary.
She's keeping a little diary, but I think if we could have recorded these events, we could have wrote quite a good book on them.
Of course.
It's cool,
Well,
you know.
I should think the firm had got photographs. So
I would think so.
Of course, they were only the photographers, the firm photographer took the photographs. And then there was workers that took a lot. Ted Colby's
Who's
take
the
on.
one you remember most, each of you, do you think? The one that you
The
enjoyed?
Queen on her first visit. The Queen on her first visit, because that was the first time I'd seen her.
Did she speak to you?
Yes.
Can you remember what she said?
About destroying the details. You've got to have a very soft, light touch. Otherwise you destroy the details. And I think Philip said that time, it wouldn't do to be morning after the night before. You have to have a steady hand. It wouldn't do the morning after the night before. That was when the two of them came round together.
I think we'd like to see Charles come round sometime. He hasn't been round as yet, has he?
No.
I think that'd be something.
Lord Snowden was always friendly when he came.
Oh, yeah.
He came
He came
quite a few
several
times,
times,
didn't he?
yes,
He was always friendly.
Yes.
But to me, the Queen Mother.
The Queen
I don't know
was
about you, Fred. Would you?
Had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
At that time, you know. I really enjoyed it. And the photograph is very good. I think. They must have some in the book.
Oh yes, the photographs.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to ask you all about was you had just began to tell me about the first figure that you put on the Portland vase is the most difficult because it can break if you're not very careful. What are the other main problems in the jobs that you do, the things that are most easy to go wrong, the things that are most difficult to do?
Well, the best thing you've got to have is a steady hand.
A good eye.
And a good eye, that's it.
Good
You
eye
haven't got
and
a steady hand, you can't place the figure, really.
It all depends on the figure itself. If, for instance, you've got a bat of figures where the bat is a bit over wet, that is a bit overdamp, and your figure's a bit overdamp, and you come to pick it up, it can bend and break on you unexpectedly. Little bits can drop off. It all depends on the figure.
With portraits, Fred and myself doing portraits, you know that if you touch his nose too much, then the expression's gone straight away. If you just wash the nose in, or leave a mark on his eye, or
I think
her eye, whatever.
It's any figure, really.
The expression's gone straight away on the face.
It's a different figure, you see.
You can make them look as though they got a boil suddenly developed on the nose, you know.
With a portrait more so, isn't
More
it?
so with a
Because
portrait.
expression
More
lies
so with
Because
on
it's
the
the
face.
centre figure, it's only one, it's the centre figure.
Expression
So
lies
they
on
always
that.
look at that, everybody looks at the centre figure straight away. See, they've got me just right. Same as Margaret's got some now, you see, that's the
If
centre figure.
if you squash that chin there of Josiah, that wouldn't be Josiah then. The expression has gone straight away out of him.
So are there particular places that you have to know where you can apply the pressure?
Well, the pressure's
All
applied.
over?
The same all over, you see.
But a light one.
But a light one.
But keep your fingers dry. Your fingers are wet,
Well,
and you
this
put
you
it on.
see.
You put it on
See,
the
like that.
plate.
On the figure, then on the apron.
It's a thing that you
Figure
can't
apron,
tell
so you keep
anybody,
your
can
fingers
you,
dry.
really?
Else if you've got a wet finger, you see, you disfigure the...
You should have a try yourself. Have a go yourself. Same as you did with figure making. If you have a go yourself, you get to know the feel and exactly what happens when you put your finger on. If your finger's wet, if you put it onto clay figure, then the detail is gone. If you do that yourself, you get the trial here.
Oh, I'll have to
Come
do
down
that.
and we'll let you have a go.
We're what we call the light-fingered gentry. That doesn't mean we pickpockets, you know.
Your piercing's gone. I'm not saying anything else you've gone.
The other thing I wanted to ask about was times and things of the job, rules. Are there any specific rules that you have to stick to? And what time do you start in the morning and finish at night?
At the moment?
At the moment.
Say 20 at the moment and finish at 5 o'clock at night. Yes. You don't mean individual time for the article we're doing?
No, I meant overall the working day.
Yes,
Oh,
I think
it's
it's
20 past 8 till 5 o'clock.
8 hours a day.
Yeah, 8 hours.
Used to be more years ago, if you're going back
Used to be
years
10
ago.
to 8.
We used to work 6 days a week now.
Did you?
Yeah, Saturday morning.
Yeah.
We did a 47-hour week then.
Yes.
Now we're down to 40,
We're down
or
to
even
40.
less now.
Yes.
But 47 hours then we work Saturday morning.
Are there any particular rules?
Rules? You should never run in a potty shop if that's anything, because of the
the
dust.
dust.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, dedicated.
Yeah, they do, yes.
Particular rules. You shouldn't really eat in a potty shop.
Not for
No, we're not
Oh, yeah,
supposed to eat.
I'll switch that off. But the trouble is, the canteen isn't large enough, you see, to
Couldn't
take
take
all
all
of
of
us. If we all went to the canteen, they'd never feed us. All afternoon. Because there's over 2,000 on this factory, and the canteen only eats 60 of it. Problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, we don't want
Do we have to obey?
Oh well,
We always clock on.
don't clock anyone else
Never
on.
clock anyone else
Clock
on.
anyone else off. Instant dismissal before doing that. Well, that's robbing the firm, you see.
Count your wages before you
Other than that, we're a very happy bunch of people. Really, aren't we?
As we said the other day, we're very fortunate to be able to sit and look at the green grass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's lovely, isn't it?
The only way the atmosphere outside was inside. Because it's very dusty. When you feel the difference inside, you go dry.
Yeah, very
right.
quickly. Yes.
Yes.
The other week when I was coming around doing all the interviews, my feet by, you know, even halfway through the day, I was really tired and very hot all the time too.
Mine, concrete does draw one's feet.
Tiring to come in here.
It can be very, very
Your throat does get
That's
dry.
right,
doesn't
that's
it?
right.
Dry atmosphere.
Yeah.
And then you do a lot of tour. You've done a lot of tour.
That's right. Boring everybody around. Well, thank you very much indeed. It seems like I've got to go. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Back in the museum again. Excuse me, I'm working for the Victorian Theatre of Stoke and we're doing a documentary about Josiah Wedgwood.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get some people's comments and thoughts about the vases and things. Do you
I don't know much about him, but we think they're lovely.
You do? Which, do you like the blue Wedgwood best, or do you like...
Well, I like the more modern ones. You know, the, what's it called, Clementine and
Meadowsweet.
that Meadowsweet, yeah.
Have you seen the Portland vase on your way round? The black and white
Probably I've
one?
not realised what it was called.
The black,
Is
yeah.
that what they are?
Yeah. Have a look at one.
Come and have a look
What
at
you want to have a reaction?
Yeah, come on, please. She said she'd take it out of the case for us, so...
Right. Would you like to hold £20,000 worth?
No. Is that what it's worth?
Well, that's what the last one
Yes,
said.
go
so
on.
would you like to hold
Yes,
it?
I would.
Right.
Never had so much in my life.
Sorry?
Are you a guide?
Well, I work in the museum, yes.
Can I ask you something after?
Certainly.
Have you got it?
Yes, I can.
Right now, what is it? £20,000.
Do you like it?
You probably stick it away to give it me.
I take it with me now.
Beautiful, yeah. The work, you know,
Beautiful,
it's
isn't it?
lovely.
Yeah.
That's the one that you see on the film, of course.
Yeah,
One of the original ones made
Yeah.
about 1790. So
yeah.
Josiah himself would have handled that.
That is the, one of the original ones. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Look at that in the back.
Even underneath, yeah. Gorgeous.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, we get out of the way, have a look.
Not asking to have it out of the case.
No, I'm sure.
I wanted to ask her if she could tell me anything about it. I've had it in the homework.
Do you like it? Beautiful.
Did you feel it actually?
The original ones in the British Museum.
Yeah. Interesting.
Very, very fine.
Yeah.
Smooth.
Yeah.
You feel it. It's got a good feeling to it. Yes, it's if you go around the demonstration area, it's exactly as you see out there. They would make the figures and then they would ornament them. So all that sort of thing. The original first edition copies did. The later ones don't tend to as much.
Yeah.
But, that's one of the first ones.
I know all that then.
About 1790. No,
It was like new, didn't it? Yeah, I was just going to say,
You know,
it doesn't
it's
even
like
look
new,
old,
yeah.
the making of it. Yeah, probably look the same in another 200 years.
That's why I wanted to ask you about. So.
Yeah, okay, I'll catch up with you in a moment.
Have a look.
1790, you said?
Yes, we started to make what we call first edition copies, from 1790 onwards, and these are the ones, of course, that fetch the huge amounts of money because of the rarity value.
Yes.
But Josiah himself would have handled that one.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Detail in it, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
has it got his name on?
No, the first edition copies didn't have the word Wedgwood on at all. But some of them were numbered.
No, it looks more, doesn't it, than what it is? Very much, very nice. Fantastic.
Well, they throw the bars, then they turn it, as you see, and then all the figures would be ornamented onto it, and then it would be fired. That's it, yes.
Are they all the originals in
Yes.
there?
Behind me you can see some of the trials and 2 first edition copies.
I see. Before he got that particular one out of it.
Well, he had to experiment for nearly 4 years before he got a good copy. So it wasn't an overnight piece.
Success, no.
So the work that went on into it, even as today, is incredible. You know, we have to do a lot of work on them.
Don't drop it, we're going to
That figure on the bottom,
Yes.
what does that denote?
It's what we call the Phrygian cap. It appears on the original glass version, and we've reproduced it on the jasper. It's thought to represent
Not the pot.
one of the Trojan warriors. It's thought to represent one of the Trojan warriors.
You meant that though, didn't you?
The sea.
Oh, that?
Sea.
That's just our catalogue number,
I
actually.
see,
With
right.
every piece in the museum's got an individual
catalogue,
number.
I see.
So, yeah. Would you like to own one?
Yeah.
Well, there's about 10 first edition copies, but we don't know where they are.
It's funny
So
I've
if
got
you
the other
look-
nine.
Oh, well, if you like, you know, if you've got an old house, get grovelling in the attic, you never know what you'll turn
I've
up.
got the old house. My mother has got 3 very old wedges, marked wedges on them, like jugs. A set of 3. They're after my great grandmother. I don't know how old they are. I have no idea. They're like blue and sort of blue and white. It's marked Wedgwood underneath. That.
Oh, if you'd like to write it, send a snapshot. We'll see what we can do.
Oh, we'll have to do that. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah. For your great kit. That's all I know. It was my great grandmother's, you know, like handed down.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm going, I'll take it with me and I'll.
We've actually got the matching teapot in the long gallery.
And told you that he had a
He said he
teapot.
thought,
Yeah. It's reputed to be a design.
I used to have the sugar basin
Did you?
somewhere in the family,
Yeah.
but it went.
Yeah, it's reputed to be a design by a modeller who worked for the Wedgwood firm called William Hackwood. And on the bottom of our teapot, it's got underneath William Hackwood model this. And as you can see, this particular one has been cast, so you can actually see the seam mark where it's been cast. As you say, it's probably the first quarter of the 19th century, and there would have been a matching teapot sugar.
There was the sugar, I know.
Yeah.
But somewhere along the line
It's when you go
got
out of the
grown.
museum, you just turn right through the double doors and have a look in the top set of cases. You will see the teapot to match that. So that's what it is.
Just briefly on what you
What-
did ask me, in case I don't know.
Yeah, all it is really is about anything that you can think of about using gold. I mean, if you could tell me, I know you did explain a bit before, but if you could go through exactly the process of how you use it. I mean, really as detailed, as technical as you can be, because I mean, it's all very
I
useful.
don't know how it's made, I know that. I know gold is based in oils, and then when it's fired, the oils burn away, and it just leaves the gold.
And describe to me how you actually paint it on the plate.
How I do it? Well, on raised paste, which I do use gold only on, I use liquid gold and powdered gold mixed to make it more firm.
And do you do that mixing yourself?
Yes.
So you're in control of the form that.
True.
And is that difficult to do, to get it right?
No, not really, no.
And do you actually, when you put it on the brush, can you explain to me how you do that? I mean,
well, first of all, you wet the brush in naphtha, and you sort of work it into the gold until you've got the feel of, you know, what should I say, the consistency. Yes, the consistency of how, you know, the depth and everything, because you want the gold, because it mustn't be too thick, otherwise it'll be blistering the firing. You know, those are the things you've got to be careful of, and of course there again you haven't got to get it too thin.
what happens if it's too thin?
Well, it doesn't fire right. It's sort of a bit washy. You know, if you put a, you know, nice amount on it, it really looks nice when it is fine, because it is 22 karat gold. And try to give them the money's worth.
Have you made lots of mistakes? I mean, did it take a long time to get the feel of what was the right consistency?
Of gold? Not necessarily, because years ago I worked in gold a lot on other patterns. But there again, it's different on the raised paste. You see, you were putting gold onto raised parts, little spots, and every one of those spots have got to be covered right down to the base, you know, sort of the base of the plate. So actually you have to be very careful to cover all the raised paste.
Tell me about when you used gold before. You said you've used it on other patterns in the past. I mean, going back.
Well, that was liquid gold.
Can you explain to me the difference?
Well, it was a lot thinner, and you put the gold into a shell, and in those days it was left for a few hours for it to sort of get old, because it was very, very runny, and you worked out of the shell to you know, either fill in, or you know, when you use it on mugs, you know, for various anniversaries and that. But we used to do spots in a pattern called Pimpernel, which was a very, very tiny little spot, and you know, you sort of get used to how to do it, really, same as any other colour. You know yourself the best way how to get the colour for you to work into it.
What sort of shell did you put it in? When you
Well,
say, do you mean a real shell? I mean,
no, it's a glass, actually, it's a glass shell with a little hole in the centre, and you just pour the gold into the little hole in the centre, and it has got a cover, so if you don't use it all up, there's sort of a top that fits on, and then you can use it the next day. But they keep it in the little hole, you know, as it won't get spilt, or, you know, it doesn't get wasted.
when you first started using it, did you have problems with, like, when it was fired? Did it sometimes come back and it had cracked or anything?
No, I can't say it ever has. Can't remember.
Can't think of any other questions at the moment. One thing I wanted to ask you about has nothing to do with gold. It's about times of work. What time do you start in the morning and things like that?
Well, I start at 8:20. According to the rules of the factory, sometimes it's 10 to 8. At the moment it's 8:20 until 5 to 5 at night. We have a 10-minute break from 10 o'clock until 10 past in the morning, and we finish at 1 until 20 to 2 for lunch, and then we work through until 5 to 5.
And are there any specific rules that you have to follow? Just sort of everyday rules?
I don't think so. Up in the factory, course I'm not piecework, whereas up in the factory they are piecework, and of course they can't stop work else the money goes down, whereas if I chat to visitors, you know, my money's still ongoing, you see.
Right, well thanks very much indeed. Yes, that's smashing. Thank you. Than anybody else. If you could just tell me a bit about what your job entails.
Oh, well, first I was on training with the ornamenters, and then I do with the prestige workers, sort of see to those and see to the quality of the prestige. Also the cameos for all the jewellery. What else do we do? Yeah, and the wages, and then I go demonstrating in all the Wedgwood rooms and all the European to the European sales, the shops there, and London rooms. You know,
ornamenting is what you demonstrate?
Figure making and ornamenting. Actually, it's two trades. You know, the ladies always have been figure makers, so I learned figure making, and then it's the men that always have done the ornamenting, and I had the chance to take theirs. So when I demonstrate, I do the two trades in one.
What are some of the problems about, let's take figure making first, what are the most difficult things, like when you're learning?
Well, essentially they've got to be pressed in right, otherwise they won't come out. So it's the learning how to sort of press the clay in properly without folding and creasing. And then of course it's the waggling of the tool, the way that the tool works, to waggle the piece of figure out so that you're not making any marks on the back with a steel tool, and not making any marks sort of on the back of it.
How long did it take you to learn?
Well, when I first started, then of course it was a 7-year training period. So we used to sit about 2 weeks just taking the learning of the tool up and down the bench, sort of learning the waggling method, you know.
And did a lot of them break when you first started trying?
Well, yes, a lot of them wouldn't even come out. Linda.
It's because I had a go the other day and I couldn't do it.
Can't move it sometimes. That's, you know, when we're demonstrating, you'll get someone that will say, like, oh, it looks so easy, but I don't suppose it is, or something like that, and you say, we have a try, you know. It usually has a bit of fun even at the shop, you know.
Does the clay have to be a certain consistency as well?
Yes. If it's too soft, of course, it will sort of cling to the mould. And then if it's too hard, of course, you can't press it in properly, you know. You sort of acquire the feel of the clay, both in figure making and ornamenting, because the figures and the pot have to be exactly the same, so that they are drying together and contracting equally together. So that all comes with the years of training, you know, by the feel, really still the hand touch, you know.
What are some of the main problems about ornamenting?
Well, making sure like that they are exactly the same first, and then there's nothing on the back of the figure, everything's smooth on the back, and making sure you've got enough water on, but not too much water, so that you can press every piece down.
What happens if you've got too much water?
Well, it just spoils your figure, takes all the detail out of the figure. And not enough water, of course, it just dries without water, and then as it dries, it'll just fall off. And in training we see it happen, you know, we see the boy doesn't put enough water or press quite sufficient. Next morning all his figures are on his boards instead of his work. So
how long does it take people to learn now?
Well, it varies really with different ones, but I would say to be a fully fledged figure maker it must take 5 years to say that you can do the big pieces and the very small pieces. intricate
Which are the
pieces.
most difficult pieces, figure making, to get out of the mould, to do?
Well, to get out, I would say the very small pieces like the jewellery. But to put the clay into the piece, I would say a very big figure. You know, to knock it in and knock it smooth.
And ornamenting, does the same apply? Are the small figures more difficult?
No, that's the pieces that you're actually doing, because it's the position that you've got to hold your piece in. You know, when they hold it, they sort of hold it away from them, up and away, and it's the heavy pieces, and then turning it round, keeping it level. So I would say actually it's the pieces themselves that you're ornamenting.
Have you, I was asking Albert this before, have you met any famous people? I mean, TV stars or film stars or royalty or...
Oh yes, Angela Rippon was with me, a fortnight ago is it? We were in one of the shops, and Fraser's in Glasgow actually, and she came and she was telling me all about her mother used to be a manageress in one of the Wedgwood rooms.
Really?
It was quite interesting, you know, and she had a go at doing one of the pieces. That's quite good.
What did she do? What did she say to you? Can you remember anything she said?
No, only she was telling me about her mother, and she was quite thrilled to have a go, you know. And she said she was in Plymouth, and I said, like, I'd already demonstrated in that shop, and I must have done it just before, and then was the manageress. There was another one there previous, and of course then the royal visitors that come onto the throne, and the Queen, two or three times, twice.
Have you spoken to her?
Yes, she spoke at the bench, and I looked up and answered her. And
what did she say?
Something about intricate piece, a very intricate piece, very, very delicate. And she took her coat off, her fur coat, while she was at the bench, and she gave it to our general manager, Mr. Norton, and she just gave it to him, and he looked at me and let me have a feel. And then her maid-in-waiting came and took it. Yeah, it was gorgeous.
What was she like?
She was lovely, really, very, very nice. Very nice to everyone. And then the Duke came round, but he just said, just sort of nodded and looked, but he said to the fella, the man that was working next to me, he'd done years more than I, and he said, you can't go on the beer every night doing a job like this. He didn't really speak to me. But the first royal person I saw was Queen Mary, and I was only a child then, working at Etruria. I was only about 14, and Queen Mary came round, and we all went outside to see her. And I thought she was fantastic. I thought she was a real, what I expected a Queen of England to be, you know. And she walked round, she was in very, very pale pink, I believe. Gorgeous.
Did she didn't say anything to
you?
No,
because I was only like 14 then, you know. And she came round and she went through and she sort of walked past us as we all stood outside. Queen Mary was the first one.
And did she do a whole tour of the works?
Of the works, yes, Etruria works she came to. And she was the first one, really. And of course I've seen Princess Anne since, you know, in other stores in London, and Prince Charles. I've seen those in there, come in the stores.
Did they say anything to you?
Only stopped to look, and I forget what was it, that's lovely. She walked back, that's lovely, you know, and just looked and smiled.
Did they have a go at anything?
No, they didn't really stop, and you know, they were looking, stopped and looked, but they didn't have a try. Actually, we couldn't ask until they offered to it. You know, an ordinary, like visitor of pretty high standing, we can, but not royalty. We can't speak until they ask us something, you know, we answer.
Is there anybody else famous that you've come across?
I've met one or two of the like Canadian the politicians, you know, and all those that when we've when I've been working at the bench quite a while, you know, and
what did they do? Did they just come?
Yes, one or two I have tried. Different ones have had a try, you know, that we've done. Statesmen, they've all come, and what was the gentleman that was killed not long ago, you know, with the bomb.
Mountbatten?
Yes, I met Mountbatten, and he did an ashtray while I was there, and his grandchildren, and they signed it, and I had it fired, and it was sent to them. And that was on Saturday morning. We did.
What was he like?
Oh, he was grand child, lovely. And we had really quite a lot of, one or two of, when I've been out to Germany demonstrating, you know, I've had their officials, and British consul, those sort of people, they've had a try, and tried for a little souvenir, you know. It's been
completely different question. What sort of hours do you work? What time?
Now at the factory, I work from 8:20 till 5 o'clock. But of course, when I go out to shops, I go whatever shop. If they usually they open at 9, and if they go from close at 5:30 or 6 o'clock, I stay till. If they have a late closing, of course, then I stay late closing. So.
Do you have to clock on here?
No, not at the factory. Not with the job I have, but when I was on the bench, of course, I clocked on and off.
What are there any particular rules that you either have to enforce in your, because you're a supervisor, aren't you, as well? Are there any rules, sort of every day, quite, you know, just anything?
Only more or less I would say tidiness and cleanliness about the job because of accidents, you know. Those are the sort of things that you're more or less looking for, because I mean things dropped on the floor and left on the floor can cause, and we're very accident conscious, shall I say, at the factory, which we have to be with our standard, you know, flying really. But I don't think really there's much. Everyone more or less adheres to their own, you know, way of working.
Are there any rules about eating or drinking?
Oh, well, we don't, they can have a drink whenever they more or less want, because we have the machines. So, I mean, if anyone wants a drink, then they'll just get up and have a drink and drink it at the bench, you know, sitting, just put it at the bench. But eating, of course, is only in the lunch hours from 10 till 10 past, that's our morning break. And then, of course, we have a break from 1 o'clock. 20 to 2, 1:40, so, you know, and then there's no break in the afternoon, but we finish at 5, which is half an hour earlier than would normally be. So we do without a break and have it that way.
How has the job changed since you started doing it?
Well, when I first started, I started as a figure maker. And that was Etruria, and it was at the little shops in Etruria. And one ornamenter, which was always a man, and 2, a lady and a young girl sat, and we all 3 worked together and more or less worked as a team. And then when we came to Barmerston, everywhere was modern. Those shops were really old, and like them, even though they're old and dusty and everything. And there was no water. We had to go and fetch our own water from the tap 2 flights of stairs below. And there was a little old-fashioned stove pot, and we had to light that, you know, that's what we light a fire, and boil the water on this stove. And then, of course, when we came here to Barmerston, everything was ultra-modern, and you felt it was really marvellous, you know. The tea came round to you, and you just simply helped yourself, and there was no fires to do. It's all central heating. Oh, it was like going to heaven, really, you know. It was really marvellous then. And gradually you've seen modern changes like that. Now we've got just the machines that you go and help yourself food or and then the canteen has gradually grown. I mean, it's a beautiful canteen, you know. Although there was quite a good canteen, a good canteen staff at Etruria, but this, I mean, it's a lovely place, really.
Has the actual job changed at all?
No.
Figure or ornamenting, the way you do it?
No, that has carried on right through from about 1774. That's never altered. The tools are still the same type of tools, and of course it's applied by hand, so that hasn't altered in the least. The moulds are made of the same material, and clay is just the same, really. It's only more or less the firing, and we fired by the coal fires, and now of course it's gas and electricity.
Does that make a difference?
Well, it's only that it's so very clean on the factory, really, you know, from coal dust and smoke oozing out, you know. But as regards the firing, no. Not regards like the wear from firing, no.
Right, thank you very much indeed. I can't think of any other questions. Thank you.
I remember